Now we'll go to the top half. That's where we find Arsenal and Spurs. They're going to meet on Sunday at the Emirates. Even on points, Spurs right now second, Arsenal fourth, thanks to goal difference. Jules and Jurgen still with us. Jurgen, what are you looking forward to most in this matchup?
Well, I'm looking forward to an exciting, really exciting match because both are doing well. For Spurs, obviously the situation is they're not in Europe, so they get a little bit more rest between the weeks, and Arsenal, has a far more games to handle. But I think that both teams are fun to watch, and obviously I really enjoy that Spurs side now that is trying to be a bit more attacking, be more dominant, a bit more proactive than they were in the recent years under several different coaches. I think the new coach, the new manager brought in a lot of enthusiasm and energy, and it looks like fun. And now this matchup at Arsenal, obviously this is huge for the Spurs fans. It means everything. If you can have a bad season, but don't lose against Arsenal, pretty much. But I'm sure they can do well, and with Arsenal being busy in Europe as well, I see them on the front foot for the Sunday match.
So Jurgen mentioned it there. Ange Postecoglou has Spurs playing an aggressive, attacking style of ball. Now that's being questioned is, can they do it against Arsenal? Postecoglou discussed that with the media earlier today. Let's listen in.
There's no other reason than we play this football than to be successful. So if I didn't think we were going to be successful, I wouldn't play it against any opposition. So, from my perspective, I've often said that I don't set up my teams to play football. It's just nice to watch. I set up my teams to play football that'll win, and you have to believe in that against all opposition, in all kind of circumstances. So there's always tweaks that happen because of the opposition will force you to adjust certain parts of your game. But the underlying principles of the kind of team we want to be, no, I'm not going to shy away from it now just because we're facing a good team. We have to, go out there and challenge ourselves to play the football we have so far against one of the teams that will be challenging for the title.
Stevie, from a Spurs perspective, what do you think is the right approach against Arsenal?
I think the right approach is what has gotten you to sitting where you are in the Premier League table. Unfortunately, in a game like this, though, when you want to get after it the way that Spurs do, the biggest worry is when you turn the ball over. Because in these games, it's faster, there's more pressure on you, and there's more chance of you turning the ball over. And when you're away from home in a game this size against a side that going forward have got, no question, plenty of ammunition that can hurt you, that would be my biggest worry. But I don't think they can do anything other than try and play the way they have done from the start of the season. Unfortunately for them, though, that might mean that they're going to give up some chances and goals. At the same time, if they're passing and their decision making, and obviously, the big players, Maddison has now already become a big player for them. If they can get him on the ball and feed Son in particular, then they can also hurt Arsenal. So I think this is going to be an open, attacking, exciting game of football. But unfortunately, I just think that Tottenham defensively aren't quite as strong as Arsenal are. And that's where the problem is going to be.
Jurgen, what?
Hello guys, so we are talking about the preview of Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspurs at the Emirates, a place where Tottenham Hotspurs last won there, I think around 10 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago. I'm not really sure. Can somebody confirm with me in the comment section? But what I'm hearing from the ESPN guys, especially Stephen Nicole, and even the manager of Tottenham Hotspurs, Postecoglou, they're saying that the way they're gonna go to this game, they're just gonna do what they've been doing so well, which is attack teams, make sure that they have those high turnover, always put people under pressure, and try to make sure that the defense make mistakes to take advantage of. Which when you really listen to it, it makes sense. If you want to get something out of a team like Arsenal, play the way you play. But this is the problem. There's no any other team that plays or that thrives on a team that opens up at the back than Arsenal. So if I am a Postecoglou, I have to be thinking about how much Mikel Arteta would take advantage of me going forward and how much he will try to hurt my team, especially on the moments when we lose the balls in the wrong positions, and take advantage of that. So you'll be wondering that even if he says that he's going to play the Tottenham way, the way he was playing, one way or the other, we know that he will be thinking about that defensive issue, because he's not playing this game at Tottenham Hotspur's ground. He's playing it at the Emirates, where Arsenal are the better team, and they also have the whole entire stadium rooting for them to win. So how does he approach that one? It's really going to be interesting to see how he takes on that one, because of course we are not denying the reason why they are still one of the unbeaten teams in the Premier League is because of how he has set up his team, how Postecoglou's team is playing, and how much he's taking advantage. I think the problem that so many people are talking about is that they are not really good going forward. But now we see that they're not trying to put Son in the middle, like what we've just been told. How does that even play out? How does Maddison become the creator that we want him to do against this Arsenal side that is strong, and set it for Son to take advantage of the chances he is able to create or the goals he's able to create? Because going backwards, it is a different ball game. They are not really that strong. And Stephen Nico is very correct today. Tottenham Hotspur's defense is not really that strong, and Mikel Arteta might be working so hard to take advantage of that. Anyway, let's continue with the video.
What do you think of Stevie says? And is there an argument for Spurs maybe to be a little bit more conservative on Sunday?
Oh, well, there would be nothing wrong with that if they're a bit more conservative. But obviously, it's for the challenge for a manager is always to get the balance right between attacking elements in your team and defending as a whole team. I mean, Spurs, the moment they turn over the ball, as CV said, need to be really careful and need to drop immediately into a 4-5-1. If the 4-2-3-1 becomes a 4-5-1, and you leave, and if Sonny plays up front or Richarlison, then you leave one up front taking care of two center backs. But this is always the challenge for a manager. I think in general, the way Postecoglou now makes Spurs play suits the DNA of Tottenham Hotspur. The DNA of Tottenham Hotspur has always been going forward, trying, to dare is to do, meaning, go forward, give it a shot, and even if it doesn't work out, then, well, the fans will forgive you. So take a bit more risk, but with that risk comes also the fact that if you make some defensive mistakes, you're going to pay for it.
Jules.
I think really what Jurgen is saying is just spot on in terms of how the Tottenham ways is always to attack and try by all means to take as much as they can going forward. It was a really good idea if they still had Harry Kane in the team. It meant that if they were creating something, those chances were going to produce something going forward. But now they're dealing with a problem that they have to try to find a way to balance between attacking and defending. And exactly again, you're going to spot on about that. How do they try to balance going forward and defending? Because if they cannot balance that part, they will be in trouble. They will be in trouble because we all know what Odegaard is able to do. We all know what Gabriel Jesus, Saka, Martinelli are able to do, especially Martinelli with the speed. We all know that, and now it's all about the balance. How do they balance this? How do they take advantage of the fact that they also have to deal with the team that is going forward or coming back? So that's one question that needs to be answered. Let's hear when they talk about Arsenal now.
What about an Arsenal take on this? Kind of big picture, what are you looking forward to the most? And then specifically when it comes to the number 9 position, is it Gabriel Jesus or is it Nketiah that you think will get the start?
No, I think Gabriel Jesus will start on Sunday. He played for an hour, just a bit more than an hour. On Wednesday against PSV Eindhoven, did really well, scored a goal, could have had a second one maybe, but the activity, the energy, all of that, I think they need that. Eddie Nketiah has done great in Jesus' absence, but I think he's the number 1 in that position. I think Arteta probably expects Postecoglou to, and as Ange said in the clip that we showed, make a few tweaks maybe. I would expect a slightly deeper block and maybe not pushing the Spurs fullbacks too high, because then otherwise Saka and Trossard, we just love that space in behind. But I think from an Arsenal point of view, the high defensive line will be there. They will have to watch Son. I think Son will start up front and not Richarlison. And that's where they can get caught as well. I think they know that. But certainly they will play their game. Would you start Havertz or Fabio Vieira? I think Havertz against PSV did well in that quite complicated role that Arteta wants him to play. So I expect him to start in that game, and Arsenal will start on the front foot. We'll try to control the game in possession, in out and out of possession as well. And if they are at the level that we saw them against PSV Eindhoven, for example, then I think it would be very hard for Spurs to stay in the game. But if they do stay in the game, then they would have chances to score. And it could be an open game. I just don't think that Tottenham will start the game and go like all guns blazing, for example.
Okay. So yes, one thing that is very important. Jesus, remember, is coming from an injury. So what we are being told here is, does Arteta think that he's fit enough to be the one who starts this game, or he's gonna go with Nketiah as well? Because like we are being told, Tottenham Hotspurs are going to try to come a bit down. They will be lower. We know that for a fact, because we know how much Arsenal can hurt a team, especially on the counter-attack, especially the team that opens at the back. So Tottenham's defense line will be a little bit deeper than usual, which makes sense. They have to defend this. But one question that was asked, I think, which is very important, what will he do? Does he put on Gabriel Jesus, who, of course, maybe might not score so many goals, but he will make sure that he supplies the people around him, the Sakas, the Martinelli, to even cause much harm into the team? Or, like what most people are thinking, does he try by all means to make sure that he puts in Nketiah, somebody who will try to put pressure, but it might not really come to him, but he'll keep putting pressure and he will always deliver when a chance displays himself. But we all know that the strike force with Nketiah is a little bit weaker than it would be if there was Jesus there. So there are so many big decisions that Mikel Arteta has to make in this game, because if he doesn't, so many things are going to go against him. And if that happens, we'll be back here on the Connect and we'll be making fun of us now. So we just hope that doesn't happen. But as things stand, that's one of the most important points that we have to cover. Is he going to choose? I have a feeling he'll put Jesus, then he'll take him out. Because as much as not 100% full match fit, he will be getting there, getting closer. And also remember, he played in the midfield. So you don't want a player to be overused, especially when it's coming from that terrible injury he had. So let's see how that one will play out from Mikel Arteta's point of view. The goalkeepers are next.
Shaka, shall we discuss the Arsenal goalie situation? The latest, Mikel Arteta saying on Friday that he still hasn't decided between Raya and Ramsdale who will start. You think it could be a factor?
At long term, certainly. In terms of the individual game, hopefully not. But as I've said from day one, from the time Arsenal signed David Raya, that I felt that Mikel Arteta needs to say who's his number one. And having both goalkeepers kind of unsure of their own position within the team, unsure as to whether they start on the weekend or not, I don't think does either any good. And I say that speaking from my own personal experience. So I didn't think that Aaron Ramsdale did anything to deserve getting dropped, but those decisions aren't mine to make. Whatever Mikel Arteta decides, David Raya, Aaron Ramsdale, pick one. I am just totally against this, not necessarily playing one off the other, but having both of them in limbo, so to speak, doesn't do either of them any good.
Jules?
To that point, because no goalkeeper wants to play a game thinking that one mistake is going to cost them their place. That causes, and again speaking from experience, that causes goalkeepers to retreat into a little bit of a shell, not take chances, and that is the worst thing that you can ask for any footballer.
Jules, with your Arsenal ways, what do you think Arteta should do when it comes to the goalkeeping position?
I mean, I'm a huge Aaron Ramsdale fan, of course. I've always been. I'm even a bit biased, to be honest here. Listen, I understand that Arteta wanted two very strong goalkeepers to be able to have a competition between them for that spot. Raya against PSV Eindhoven did really well, better than against Everton. He had nothing to do against PSV, and in distribution, especially the the longer passes, the longer balls that we saw. Actually, he tried 17 of them and 12 were successful. This is a lot. This is high numbers that even Ramsdale never tried. And I would not be surprised if we saw that again a lot on Sunday. So right now you have to say I think Raya is favourite to start, and if he starts that game, then I think he will establish himself in the team for now, for sure.
Go ahead, Stevie. I saw you champing at the bit when Xhaka was talking.
No, I just couldn't agree more. I would hate to be in the situation of one of these two, and I would probably hate more of all to be in Aaron Ramsdale's position, because he was the number one, and all of a sudden he'll be sitting thinking, what's going on here? What have I done? And the mere fact that Arteta could turn round and play him on Sunday, I've got to assume that Aaron Ramsdale hasn't had the best preparation up until when he finds out he's playing either. So it makes no sense to me whatsoever. Arteta, I'm sure, thinks he knows what he's doing. But as long as he's made it clear, never mind us what we think, as long as he's made it clear to these two where they stand.
Well, he's not. He told us on Friday that we don't know who's starting Sunday, right?
Well, he's asking for trouble then. You're just asking for trouble. I mean, footballers like things to be clear.
Yeah.
They don't like to be left hanging, because that's what he's doing with these two.
Jurgen, are we wrong to criticize Arteta's approach here with the goalies?
Well, it's definitely worth a discussion because obviously the goalkeeper position is extremely, extremely important for every manager. And in my experience over the years, it helps just to be clear to them, be upfront to them, and if it's possible to tell them early enough, who's in goal, who's their number one, because it gives that person and that goalie, it gives them confidence, it gives calmer in his way he trains, and everybody knows where they stand. So it might go okay, and both are fine with that, because obviously we don't know the conversations he has with both goalies over the last couple of days. But just the uncertainty going into a game, a clash like this one on Sunday with Spurs, which is the biggest game in town in London, then it could make you nervous as well, and it could backfire.
When all these people that I'm listening to, what they're saying, they're just really asking, what on earth is Mikel Arteta doing? That is the only thing that they're asking, and maybe they don't really want to come out and actually say. He has never been a goalkeeper. He doesn't understand that the mindset of a goalkeeper is way different than of any other player. I played as a goalkeeper before, even though I hated it, but you are a different player than the rest that are in the ground. At least in the ground, you are sure that you have at least two players who cover you when you lose position. You hear me? You have people who cover you when you lose position. In the goalkeeper, you are the last line of defense. If you lose, if your mind is not in it, if you're afraid of taking the advantage to try to test yourself, try to risk it and help the team, you will be in trouble. And I'm telling you, what Mikel Arteta is doing, playing with the psyches of these young players, especially Aaron Ramsdale, and even though David Raya, it will affect him. At this moment, he feels like he's the one who's hunting for the spot. But he will be the prey very, very soon. Because when he gets the position, he will know that if he makes a mistake, Aaron Ramsdale is now working to get my position. It's not even a good idea for both of these guys. Xhaka Heslop, a goalkeeper, a professional goalkeeper who played for such a long time, he's talking about how much it always affects a goalkeeper when he knows that his position is under threat, because he's afraid of risking running to the ball when he can defend it rather than the player to try and shoot and try to hope that he can save it in the last line of defense, which is the line of the goal. This puts so much pressure on the goalkeeper. Not only Ramsdale, of course, he's hurt at the moment because this season he hasn't done any problem, but he has been dropped. Now let's talk about David Raya, the new guy who everyone are excited about, which Mikel Arteta is excited about. He is going to be going through so much, especially with the fact of there is nobody who knows who's going to be the goalkeeper before the game or before the manager tells them that you will be in the game. So because of that, that always plays in each and every player's psyche, and it always disturbs them. in terms of focusing wise and how to prepare for those games. So I'm really curious how this one will play out. Like, I'm really curious to see how these people are really planning over and preparing for this game, because none of them knows who's going to be playing this game. None of them. And that is a dangerous position for a goalkeeper to be on. Not knowing if you are starting or if you are even playing. I don't get it. I don't understand. Is there a goalkeeping coach who's telling this manager that this is the right decision to do? This is how you get the better out of the players? Because like I keep saying, like everyone keeps saying, like each and every former goalkeeper or even goalkeeper manager keeps saying, this is a different position than any other player. You need to protect your goalkeeper. I don't know. This is going to be exciting to see, but this is a dangerous thing that Mikel Arteta is doing. Shaka, his blog, talks about it. Stephen Nicole, he's talking about how this guy, Aaron Ramsey, is feeling. He's like, I don't know what I did to be losing my position, but what on earth did I do to lose my position? I no longer have it. But he doesn't really know what he did wrong. That's a goalkeeper who's already going through so many questions in his brain that he cannot find an answer. I can't wait to see how this one plays out. We had in Manchester United, as much as people make fun of this, we had the David De Gea and Dean Anderson problem. Manchester United made it clear that they were choosing who? David De Gea. Even Arsenal before, they chose Leno over this guy who's playing at Militano Martinez, who's now playing at Aston Villa. Now this guy, Mikel Arteta, has decided to just come out with things like this. It's gonna be crazy, I'm telling you. I smell nothing but trouble into this situation. This is trouble waiting to happen.
Jurgen, you talk about how big a game this is. I wonder how important then experience is to who comes out on top on Sunday. I mention that because when we look at Spurs' team, it's not a ton of experience in this matchup specifically or these type of games. Is that a concern for you?
No, it's not a concern, but it's just, I think, from a positive perspective, to experience then this type of a derby with these crazy emotions that come from the fans and the expectations in the neighborhoods, and it's just literally 2-3 miles away from each other. This is just fun. I mean, this is something that players die for, and managers too. To be honest, you want to have these kind of competitions all week long. So it's a special game for both sides, and both teams doing well at the moment. Have a good start into the season. So hopefully we see an open game. We see a couple of goals, a very entertaining game, and the better team should win, as we always say.
Does the lack of experience we just saw there from Spurs, does it give Arsenal any type of edge, Stevie?
I think it does.
Really?
Listen, derbies like this are 100% more intense, and everything's quicker. Everything is quicker, which means you have to think quicker. Every single thing that you do has to be done in a manner which you've never experienced before. Like James Maddison, for example, is going to pick the ball up, and as he's thinking what to do, somebody's going to be they're going to be stuck to him. He's going to be thinking, hold on a second, I've never experienced anything like this. I mean, derbies of this nature, absolutely 100%. If you've never played in one before, it hits you, it rocks you. It's not until you've been through it, all of a sudden you figure out what's expected. So yeah, I think for anybody who's never experienced it, I think definitely it'll make it harder for them. Certainly, there's no question at the start of the game.
Arsenal, Spurs, and Sunday.
Experience will matter. Arsenal have more experience into this London derby. They've won them. They have that confidence. They believe that they have done them before. They know how to win them. So that matters even more than any other one. Of course, Tottenham had some players who have played in this London derby before, but they've been in the losing part. So now they're with a winning manager who has never played in the London derby, hoping that he can give them the belief to win it. So that one's going to be exciting to see how that one plays out, but we'll be watching. But yeah, experience is always important in these derbies. You need the experience to be able to deal with some high pressure moments where you'll be commanded and you'll be demanded to show more than what the whole world will be seeing. So trust me, this is going to be an exciting time. I can't wait to see what happens.
Day at the Emirates. Jules, we had you make a combined 11 of these two teams. I believe you had 9 Arsenal players, as well as Mikel Arteta as the manager. So I'm assuming that means you think there's a significant gap then between these two squads. The table would suggest they're neck and neck.
Yeah, no, I think there is. It's helped by the fact that, as we've just mentioned, a lot of those Spurs players have never played in that game. Some are even new in the league. Van der Ven, Udogie, Vicario, all of them, they've never played in England before. So for that and for the form that Arsenal have been showing, not just this season, of course, with a similar team, similar starting 11, but also last season, where Spurs were nowhere near that kind of level, I think it's fair to have more Arsenal players in there. And that's why, apart from Maddison, who completely deserves to be there because of the wonderful start of the season that he has, and Son, because Martinelli is also injured, I think Son and Maddison can get into this team. For the race, you would have Rice ahead of Bissouma, for example, or Sarr. You would have Odegaard there, Saka, of course. And I think defensively, the four Arsenal defenders, the 2 centre-backs and the 2 full-backs, right now, you would take that back 4 ahead of the Spurs back 4 and in every position as well. So for now, yes, but again, this is a reflection of what we've seen this Arsenal team and squad doing for the last, let's say, 18 months, roughly. And Spurs are not there yet. I mean, just to finish quickly, Spurs are at the stage where Arsenal used to be when Arteta took over. And Ange is doing what Arteta did at the time, figuring out, like, putting together a game plan, a style of play that he can implement to the players and that will stick to them and they will play like that. Then he's going to get rid, and he started already, of the players that he doesn't want there, who don't fit that style of play, and they will get new players who fit that, exactly like Arsenal. And it'll be very interesting to see in the next 2 to 3 years now how the development of this Spurs team under Ange is compared to the one that Arsenal went through under Arteta at the beginning, because I think there will be a lot of similarities between the two.
Jurgen, I can't help but notice you laughing. Are you laughing at the fact there were only 2 Spurs players in that 11, or at Jules' hair in the picture?
No,
Oh, definitely the picture.
No, with all due respect, but I would change that lineup completely. I would change it completely, that lineup.
Jurgen, who are you putting in? Who are you putting in from Spurs?
It's obviously for yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm not living in the past, but when I played that derby the first time, I think '94, we were 4 or 5 players, never experienced that derby before, and we beat Arsenal, I think 1-0. So I don't think that experience, yes, it helps here and there, experience, but once you step on the field, and Stevie knows that, and Xhaka, once you step on the field and you feel the energy of the crowd and the fans, and you just want to get into that game, and you just badly want to win this game. You become so hungry, and then you're not thinking anymore if you have more experience or less experience than your opponent. You just go for it. And I think the matchup now comes at a wonderful time. Both teams are doing well. I think we're going to see a spectacular game. And then Jules, I think after the game, then on Sunday, he will change his phone.
All right, we had Jules combined 11. We got to look at that. What about Jules' prediction? Because he had 9 of 11 guys from Arsenal in his combined 11. So you would think then Arsenal is going to roll. Wait a sec. Jules, you got this a 2-2 draw. Explain yourself, man.
Well, yeah, it's not because, I think that in the combined 11 you pick more Arsenal players. That doesn't mean Spurs will have a good game. I think a draw with 4 goals could be fair because, as we've been saying, the Spurs team is wonderful going forward. They've attacked really well so far this season. Arsenal are very strong as well. I think this will be a game where there won't be too much between. I don't expect Arsenal, for example, to completely destroy the Spurs team or Tottenham to be rolled over completely. That's why I think there won't be much between the two, because of that dynamic and momentum that Tottenham have right now, which is very important, even with the lack of experience. So, I do think that a draw could completely happen and will be fair.
Stevie, you buying what Jules is saying? You got Arsenal winning 3-2. You see a lot of goals, huh?
I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it 3-1.
Arsenal. Got it.
Yeah.
Why the change? Because of what Jules said?
I was
to upset Jurgen.
At the time when Mike sent me the question, I was like thinking about the game, and I was like, oh, this is going to be great. It's going to be, you get at them and you get after them, and then the more I've thought about it, you got to calm down. It is a derby, and there are certain things that happen in derbies. So I think Arsenal are way too experienced. I honestly do believe in the fact that a lot of these Spurs guys haven't experienced it. I can tell you myself, I nearly put my pants when I figured out what was going on in the Everton-Liverpool derby. The intensity and the pace of it. Of course, back then you could kick lumps at each other. So, yeah, I do believe that Arsenal will win this comfortably.
All right, Stevie has changed his score to 3-1. Jurgen, you want to do the same with your scoreline for Spurs?
Changed to an Arsenal win now. I've convinced him.
Well, I will give Sonny a call and add another goal to it then.
Yeah, that was a weird combined 11, but when you really think about it, just to be true, if we are taking this quality over experience, of course, it makes sense that there are only two Tottenham players there. But when we look at this season, who have done so well, I'll take out Ben White and put this new kid from Tottenham Spurs who's playing so well. No, I mean Zinchenko over, I don't know what, is it called Udogi or something like that? Udogi. It looks like it's really exciting. And also in the midfield, how was the midfield as well, if I remember so well? The midfield was Odegaard, Rice, and Maddison. Yeah, Maddison, I'll put him there. Rice, I'll put him, and Odegaard, I'll put him. I'll take out Zinchenko and put Udogi. I think he's playing as the left back, right? Then up forward, yes, I think that's it. That's the only thing I can change. The other thing that, like he has already explained, Jules, that there are still so much players who have no experience of this team, of this derby. They don't really understand what happens in the game. So they might need to actually get themselves there. They need to be there at least. And also when you think about the game itself, it's going to be a challenging game. It's going to be a demanding game. You need to have at least the confidence to believe that you can get something out of this game. Because if you don't, the other team will really destroy you. But this is going to be an exciting time. I want to hear your predictions as well. My prediction is actually going to be a 1-1 draw. I think as much as, in fact, 2-2. Yeah, I think I'll go 2-2 because I feel like Tottenham would score as well as Arsenal. But yeah, I think it has to be a 2-2 draw. Can't go more than that. That'll be weird. But anyway, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. What are you thinking of the Tottenham Arsenal derby? Who are you rooting for? Who do you think will win? And how many goals when you try to predict it? I'm out. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll be back again with another one. Peace. Peace.